Okay, let's get back to talking about our boys here, the Yankees, okay? You know, they're not that close to being a contending team again. They're not that far either. They're kind of like right in the middle. But there's some obvious, there are personnel issues that we know about that are obvious. And there are chemistry issues, too, that we can't really deny either. So, and these things are obvious. So let's just point them out now and, and let it be what it be. Now, Cashman has a lot of work to do, okay? And I don't think it's going to happen all this offseason. This is a multiple offseason repair job, and to kind of get the Yankees back on good footing and the right footing. So he's got to bring in the right coaches. Hal also has to show, just the entire Steinbrenner family have to show the commitment to taking this place back from the Bronx Country Club to the Bronx Zoo. Okay, no more country club stuff. We got to get them back to the zoo. And if they want to win, they're going to have to do this stuff. They're not going to have to, they can't be afraid to make bold trades and bold signings. And they can't be afraid to do this stuff, okay? And for once, maybe put winning ahead of profits. Just a thought, boys, okay? But with that, I'm going to give you 3 moves that I think will get the Yankees back on the right footing and put them in a really good spot this year, okay? I'm not saying they'll take them to the World Series and they'll win immediately. Crazy things can happen. Can't rule that out either, but these will get them back on footing, and I'm going to give my logic behind them, okay? The first one is a trade with the Oakland A's, okay? Yes, a lot of people have been talking about it, including myself, but this one does not include Matt Olson, okay? At least right off the bat. This is addressing other holes, but and both my trades had addressed multiple holes and in one trade. So, but this one, the Yankees would acquire Sean Manaea, left-handed starting pitcher. Okay, he's like their number 2 starter there behind Frankie Montes. He's got 1 more year of control before he becomes a free agent at the age of 30, but he's a solid left-handed pitcher. And Sean Murphy, who's their catcher, okay? This kid's he's a 26-year-old kid. He's got a lot of controllables years left. He's not even in arbitration yet. He might be just starting arbitration now. So he'll be around until at least 2026. And he, to me, is an obvious replacement for Gary Sanchez. He's a good, he's not like super elite at one thing, but he's good at pretty much everything. And I'll take somebody like that with that type of consistency over Gary Sanchez any day of the week. Okay, Sanchez is, again, he's got talent, but he's got so many things that work against his talent and negate his ability to get better that it makes sense to get somebody in here who can not only handle the starting pitchers and the relievers and have somebody that they want to actually work with, but not have to constantly worry about. Okay, Sean Murphy represents that. Okay, so we get a left-handed starting pitcher and the catcher right off the bat. Okay, 4, Josh Bro, who's their number 18 prospect, is a catcher. The Yankees drafted him, I think it was in 2018 in the 2nd round. Luke Voit, who's not a free agent until 2025, so 3 years of cost control options over there, DH or first base, which gives the A's flexibility to move him at Olsen, whether it be in a different trade or making this trade an even a bigger one. But let's leave that to the side for now. So Bro and Voit, Davey Garcia, who's their number 11 prospect, the right-handed pitcher, excuse me, and Alexander Vargas, who's a very promising shortstop prospect, but he's blocked by 3 other elite shortstop prospects here. So he doesn't really have a path upward, but he would in Oakland, as would a lot of these other guys. I mean, the Yankees, this is a situation where one team's trash is another team's treasure. Like James Caprillion became the Yankees' trasher, he's doing really well over in Oakland. So the same thing can happen with Davey Garcia, as much as I hate to see it, but this is an opportunity to get a long-term catcher here and another starting pitcher to put behind Garrett Cole. That's a frontline pitcher, okay? And again, if there's a way to expand it and add Matt Olson, then the Yankees would obviously have to pad their prospects. It would cost a lot. But this, to me, represents a good trade. And let's just go under the assumption that DJ LeMahieu is going to play first base. Okay, so that means they're walking away from Rizzo. They're not going to pay him $80 million, and Voigt's obviously moved in this trade. So you get DJ at first base, and you have whoever, a multiple position guy or a super utility guy backing him up. Okay, but let's just go under that condition. So that's trade 1. Trade 2. The Yankees make a trade with Cincinnati. They get Luis Castillo, starting pitcher, frontline guy, who's under control for 2 more seasons, and Amir Garrett, another stud reliever, who's under control for 2 more seasons as well. They're both free agents in 2024. In exchange for Luis Medina, top-end pitching prospect, he's got big upside for the Yankees. Number 8, right-handed pitcher. Chad Green, major league reliever, obviously, but he's got 1 year of control instead of 2, but he's cheaper than Amir Garrett. Oswaldo Cabrera is one of the more promising shortstop prospects. He's one of those top 3 guys. He's got an elite bat, steals bases, he's aggressive, he's a good contact hitter. He's got an elite defensive profile as well. So he's highly rated. So again, the Reds will be getting 2 highly end prospects and a relief pitcher. If they might have to give another mid-level prospect, and I would be totally fine. But could you imagine now getting, with these true trades, Castillo and Sean Manaea, you get 2 frontline starting pitchers behind Cole, meaning you would not have to go spend $150 million for Robbie Ray or $100 million for Carlos Rodon. You can invest that money elsewhere, okay, like in shortstop and in other positions. So, and then you'd be getting a catcher, long-term catcher, which again makes it easier to DFA Gary Sanchez, so they'd be saving another $8 million there because that's what he's due in arbitration or right around there. And they would be swapping reliever for reliever. And again, the Yankees might have to sweeten that one with another prospect, but I would be fine with that. But they'd be getting 2 starting pitchers, a catcher, and a relief pitcher, all major league level. And again, if the Yankees give Voit and Green, so they give a couple of major league pieces. But Cincinnati and Oakland are generally not in the business of spending big, and the Yankees are. So this represents a win for both sides. So, and in both trades. So that's the way I see it. That's my logic. And no matter what some online simulator says how imbalanced it is, blah, 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 this is strictly based on need and fit and market and who spends and who doesn't spend. And again, it might be a prospect off, a prospect here, but some of those trades on that simulator are so horrifically, ridiculously imbalanced that I don't take that seriously at all, because it also it ignores the human factor. What's the human factor? Something that the Yankees did a bunch of years ago with Chase Headley. They attached a frontline prospect to get a team to absorb all of Chase Headley's salary. $13 million. They got him off the books and they used it elsewhere. This is an opportunity, and that's the human factor. That kind of stuff happens in trades like this because GMs negotiate with each other. They don't say, hang on a second, let me plug this into the simulator. No, I need 6 more players. It doesn't work like that. As much as I can appreciate the simulator and stuff like that, it makes it fascinating, proposals and stuff like that, but some of them are so far-fetched that it can't be taken seriously. So I saw one of the trades that the Yankees were giving up Jason Dominguez and Trey Sweeney and Oswald Peraza and more for German Marquez and the Rockies, and I think C.J. Cron, an injury-prone first baseman. There is no way in the world the Yankees would give up that much for that package. Brian Cashman would, number one, if he accepted that, he'd be fired immediately. And but my guess is he'd laugh at that person and hang up the phone. So, but back to this. So those 2 trades, I think, are fair, representable trades. Okay? Again, could be tinkered with a little bit, totally fine. And you're welcome to agree, you're welcome to disagree. Everybody's perspective is fine. But these trades, I think, put the Yankees on better footing. And the last move is signing Eddie Rosario. Yes, the outfielder from the Atlanta Braves who's playing in the World Series right now. Not a sexy name, but he does a lot of the things that the current Yankees don't do. So he steals bases, and he gets on base, a good contact hitter, plays elite defense in the outfield. Now, the Yankees have pretty good defense in the outfield, but this guy also brings that winning mentality, that hustle, the feisty ball player that the Yankees don't really show. And these types of players, you get a Castillo, you get Manaea, backing up Garrett Cole, and then you have a bunch of bulldogs in the rotation. You'd have a little bit more feistiness behind the plate, a guy that pitchers actually want to work with. And then you get somebody like Eddie Rosario who does a lot of the little things, and he would make a lot of things better, whether it's stealing a key base or going from first to third. That type of speed is the stuff that the Yankees need to use. That's why I recommended Greg Allen for a potential leadoff hitter in center field. That's why I recommend they use Tyler Wade more, because these guys are fast, they're base stealers, and they can be used a lot in a better way to manufacture more runs. Okay, the Yankees were 26th out of 30 last year, leaving runners on base, and a lot of reasons because of their guys are slow, getting thrown out, or the hitters are just not hitting. They're striking out with bases loaded or grounding into double plays with bases loaded. So these types of players, and especially Eddie Rosario, a contact hitter who can do a lot of things again, you add 2 starters, it makes the team look a hell of a lot different, and it puts them in much better footing than it would before. Okay, and again, the Yankees not have to go buck wild in free agency on pitching. They can go do it now in shortstop if they want. And you get a guy, they might not get Carlos Correa, they might not get Corey Seager, but again, I predicted Trevor Story. He won't tie them up for 8 or 10 years. You could probably get him on a 5-year deal at a good salary, and he's also the most athletic of all the shortstops. He's fast, he's an elite defender. Even though he's righty, doesn't matter. Okay, Rosario's lefty, which is another advantage for the Yankees, and it also makes it easier for them to move on from Brett Gardner, which I think they should do. But again, Story represents the ability to have an athletic shortstop in there and someone who can also move to second or third so that he won't be blocking Volpe, he won't be blocking either Cabrera or Peraza and these guys. So they would get more athletic, and it would make it easier if they needed or decided to move on from a Gleyber Torres. If things don't pan out, it would make it easier for them to do that as well. So, but these are my trades. You guys let me know what you think, and then give me your 3. Put them in down below. Let's get into this. Let's talk. Let's go.